Right, hello guys and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's new video, I have come up with a genius idea, and that idea is going to be to effectively have commands built in to this thing called the terminal. Now, those commands that we're going to be creating are going to be simple things that will make our lives easier. Things like printing out a file to the terminal so we can see its contents. So the idea that I have is quite literally I will call, say, something like cat. I don't know, cat just sounds right. And then we'll effectively, I've got a file in here called txt, so we've got text.txt. So if I run that, okay, it seems to already be a thing. Okay, well, scrap that then. I've got another idea. We'll come up with another command. We'll create it. We'll call it ls. Just something that will print out, because I want to know what files I have in my terminal. So we'll just create something called ls. And the idea I have is when you print. Okay. One more idea I have then is we'll create something called wc, word count. Okay, that seems pretty like a pretty useful tool. We'll do text.txt and then okay, that seems to be a thing as well. Right. Today's episode we're going to be rebuilding Linux commands. Why do I want to do this? Well, in all honesty, I had the idea of building a shell, and that is quite a fun idea and it's quite a fun project to work on. Coming up to the year anniversary of working on C now. So I feel like I should be able to do this straightforward thing and have an idea of what's going on. Shell's a little bit more complex to do an off-the-cuff video. I'm currently working on one right now, which I can't talk about, but it's right in my arm reach. I could pull it onto the camera and show you. It's nothing to do with C, really, but it's a fun project, so I'm excited to show it. I've got my 3D printer cooking, and we're going to effectively build a little embedded device. But before we talk about that, before we get onto that, we're going to focus on today's video, which is going to be rebuilding Linux commands or UNIX commands, or tools, programs, system programs in C. So the first one, we're actually going to try and do it in this order. I feel like this would be a good way to do it. I've never rebuilt ls. I've never built cat. I think I built word count because I think it's in the Brian Kernighan book. By the way, Brian Kernighan, Professor Kernighan, one of the coolest people that has ever lived. I mean, look at him. He is, or him here. He is an icon living, and he is somebody I respect and admire so much. His book is fantastic, although I've talked about the book in previous videos. It's maybe a little bit outdated, of course, given the fact that it's got to be 50 years old, or that not far off. I think it's about 50 years old. But, you know, again, books have changed a lot, but that is the first programming book, should we say. There's probably more others out there, but, you know, that was the one that stood out massively. So what we're going to do then is start by rebuilding cat. I've already got a test file there, or text.txt file. So what we're going to do is rebuild cat. I think cat's a good place to start. The idea is I'll call something like my cat. So it'd be something like this, called my cat. We'll put text.txt in there. And then when I run that, of course, it's showing that I have no file yet. But the idea will be that it will print out, hello there, it'll print out the contents of my file. We'll get a word count going. You know, we probably won't do grep. I feel like grep could be its own little video. In fact, Brian Kernighan on the Lex Friedman podcast said that an assignment he got his university students to do for him was rebuilding grep. And I feel like that's a really, really fun project. And what I would like to do, again, I'm going off the cuff now, this is going to be the longest introduction ever. But what I would like to do is possibly rebuild grep, get AI to rebuild grep, and see how mine differs from AI. And I've been playing around with AI lately. Not in this video, not with C, because I don't want it to do C coding for me, because that's my little fun project. But I have been playing around with AI, and we're going to see how in the next video. So, without further ado, let's get on. It's going to be a fun one. Grab a coffee. I've got one here. Let's get started. Right, so let's get started then. So the first thing we're going to have to do in rebuilding cat is we're going to have to import the classic, import. That probably gives away what I've been doing behind the scenes. It's not been C. So include stdio.h, and effectively we're going to have two functions here. Of course, we're going to have our main, and this is going to take in arguments. So we need to have int argc. This is just keeping track of the numbers or number of arguments that we have. And we're also going to have a character array of argv, which is going to be, again, the actual arguments themselves. Now, what are we going to do? To be honest with you, I haven't really mentally mapped this out yet, although I have an idea. we'll create another function, we'll call it dump, and we will take in a file. So we're going to take in a file, and then what we will do is we will just simply dump the contents of that file, and I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. So we're just going to simply dump the contents of that file. Seems pretty straightforward. Let's have a little go. I guarantee I'm going to make a few mistakes, but it's fine. We'll live with that. Right. So before I go ahead and do anything with that dump, in fact, we could probably get this out of the way straight away. So we want to do something like while I'm going to create a variable called C. While C or F get C src, while C equals, what am I doing? Hello? I don't know, that happens often. While F, okay, is not equal to, okay, have I? Oh no, right, okay. Is not equal to end of file. We want to run something, which is going to be print, no, not print. What are we going to be running? I don't know. Okay, let's have a little think about this. Right, so we're saying while we are getting our character and we're storing that in C, we want to keep doing that until the end of the file. So up till now is right. What I need to do is get it to print or put the string there. So to do that, we can use fputC, which takes in an int. Putc, it takes in, it did say just then, it takes in an int, which can be our C, and it'll take in a file, which is going to be our source. So we'll do C, and then we'll do src, and I think that's it for our dump function. Now, what we need to do is effectively loop through. In fact, we don't want to do that first. Right, I don't know how cat does it. If I call cat, let's give it a go. If I call cat and I don't do anything, it does this, which is effectively just printing the standard input. So quite literally, what I want to do is something similar. And it's actually, I don't think, as hard as it seems. I think all we've got to do is just say if argc is less than 2. So let's try and do this now. If argc is less than 2, then we want to, it's not print, dump. We're going to call our function here dump and then the standard in. So again, standard input, standard in, std in is our is a file which logs input. Std out is our output. So they're two different files. So that's task 1 done effectively. So saying if there's no arguments, we're just going to print that. Now for the more tricky part, we need an else here. We effectively want to loop through. We want to loop through I with using I. So we're going to say I is equal to 0. And then we're going to do I, why am I having a mind blank? We're going to say whilst I is less than the file, no, we're on about argc now. Whilst it's less than argc, we're going to increment. There we go. Fantastic. Okay. Right, let's have some water a sec. And just double check that we're recording. Yeah, we are. Great. Good stuff. Okay. So, what we have so far then, we have this. I feel like people can do this much faster than me, by the way. First time programming C for a little while. Be kind to me. And I'm sure there's a different way to do this. In fact, I wonder if I should get AI to do, not AI to do it for me, but as in see how AI would do this. I'm curious. Right, now we got to effectively deal with if, right, we'll leave the null part of this first. we'll leave that, because we need to deal with if the file is null, then it needs to effectively return an error. But we're going to ignore that for now. We want to create a file. File equals arg, and then it's going to be v, and then we'll put an I here, and I think we do something with that, which is going to be file open, and we're going to read that. File open, and we can read that. I will say as well, for people who have been paying attention to my channel, and I don't know how big that number is, but I did remove some of my, not remove, but I just removed the view of some of my older videos, purely because the people who are watching these videos now, the audience has changed significantly. It seems to be more people who have programmed in C for a long while. But if somebody in the comments wants me to kind of re-release those videos, I'm happy to do that. That is fine. But just let me know what you think. Because if those older videos, looking back, I feel like they were overly simplistic. But it's because I was a beginner. I was literally a beginner in C. So it was very fresh to me. Right. Quite literally all we want to do now then is use our dump function, which is going to print the file effectively. So we'll do file. And then after that, we'll do file close. We need to close our file. And then that is it. We can return a 0. And I believe, oops, what have I done wrong? Rookie mistake. And this one, why am I getting an error there? Use of undeclared identifier file. That's interesting. File, F open. I don't see what I've done wrong there. File C is less than 2, dump standard in, that's fine. Else, we got our 4, which is int I arg C, incremented through I, we got type file. Do I need, have I missed out a header file? I don't think so. Standard input. Okay, I'm going to do a quick search on this one, because I have no bloody clue why I'm getting that error. That should be fine. Use of undeclared identifier file. Right, let's find out more about this error then. It means your compiler trying to read the variable or data type name file that has not been properly defined, made visible to your section of code. Right, just from Google, it's saying that no, I've done that right. No. That's so stupid. Have I included the wrong? Hello? What have I done here? It can't, no, that's right. I'm pretty sure this is right. Is it because I've defined it in the for loop? I think it is. I've left this out of the for loop. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, okay. Oops. Oh, no. 2K. Right, let's just do it like this. Right, so we got int, and then we want to copy this, which we'll do yank 2J, yank 1J, delete 1j, and then we can go up, and then we can paste these lines in, we can tab them, and that's fine. So I think that works now. That was an absolute mess. I just didn't include it in the place where it was defined. So that was the whole reason behind that. So let's try this then first, okay? So we'll do clang cat.c, and then we're going to have that output to just something like my cat. So if I just clear this a second, that's something I need to look at. What's the shortcut for clearing? What is the shortcut for clearing in the terminal? Because there's a shortcut for it, I just don't know. Control L. Let's try that. We'll try it after we do this. Right, so my cat, oops. My cat. Okay, we'll do text.txt. Okay, that didn't dump anything at all. Fantastic. Right. Why didn't that work? Let's just try this, see if this works. Control L. Not Control L, right, okay. Why didn't that work? That's strange. Okay, I don't know why this didn't work first time. I was hoping this would be the easiest one, actually. But maybe, hopefully, we'll hold out for word count. Maybe that's the easiest one. Right, so we have, for int I equals 0, it's 1. It's 1. Such a silly mistake. Again, not taking my time. My bad. Right, let's try this again. Why didn't that work? So we've got int I equals 1, I less than argc, I plus plus, so we're incrementing through I. If we have arguments that are less than... I done this on my Alexa video. Like, what is wrong with me? I think I'm blaming it on the keyboard all the time. And very well may be the case. I'm still typing clear. Anyway, right. My cat, and then we'll do text.txt. Why is that not working? Do I just not have a text file? I do. Text.txt. And there is text in there. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, right. Okay. Let's take another look at it. One last look. This is going to be fine. I'm assuming now, I feel like... Ah, no. I'm outputting the wrong file. I'm outputting the... right. Okay. std... Right, we're sending it, we're putting it from our source file into our standard out file. What am I doing? Right, okay. Right, that's it. That's working now. That is working. I'm confident. I bet my life on it. Will I die? No, I won't. Fantastic. Okay, right. The only thing that I would like to add in now is to we'll just quickly add this in, and then I'll deal with. Oh well, we won't deal with anything else. I think it's pretty much done then. So we're going to say if our file is null, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say p error, and we'll say. Or we'll just effectively is that right? No, V. I think that's it. Continue. As if nothing happened. That's it. So that's just effectively dealing with the fact that if the file is empty, then we're just going to print out an error and then just continue. So that's it. I don't know what I just clicked. Hopefully I saved that. So if I climb that up, and again, we'll run it, but it'll be the exact same output as before. Where is it? There we go. Yeah, okay, hello there. And if I just call my cat, nothing happens. If I type in something, it'll just print out effectively what I wanted to see, okay? So that's it. That's job number one done. We've got cat working. That was pretty straightforward. Right, so our next logical step, I think, because it's the next easy step, is just to create a simple word count. Now, to create a simple word count, we're going to use C type, which is a header file, which allows us to use things like is space, which can be useful when doing this sort of project or this sort of program. So let's create word count. See, I knew I was going to do ls. I think ls is a bit too complex, so maybe we can add that in with grep the next time we do it. But for now, let's stick to something very simple. It's really cool doing these because you get to see how simple, like they're really simple. I understand that. You're probably watching this and thinking, why would I create these Linux system programs? They are so simple. They don't really do much. They're not sexy. You're not creating a web server. You're not doing any of this. But you're building the fundamental blocks of what the kernel or what the shell uses. And that's pretty cool because if you can build them, you can build anything, I think. You know, they're simple, but they're simple but very, very, very effective. And the only reason why I got this idea is because I was looking at my shelf and I seen that Brian Kernighan book and I thought, this word count program is something we've done before, but enough talking. Let's get to it. So, by the way, everyone seemed to really enjoy the assembly video, so maybe we'll do that again. I want to do a bit more assembly, so let's work on that as well. So we're going to include our stdio. We're also going to include our ctype.h, and the next thing we're going to do is create our main function, which is going to take argc, and also we're going to take in our argv as well. So jar argv, do that. Don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not automatically fill in. I've got something wrong there. Have I not created a C file? No, I have. Okay, that's strange. That's very strange. Okay, I gotta fix this a sec because this will just bug me. Right, okay, I got it working. So what we're gonna do then is we will start. Why am I getting an error? There we go. Right, we need to firstly state again if. We'll just deal with this first. So if the argc is less than 2, need done it again, then we're going to fprintf, and we're going to do our standard error. We'll say something, it could be anything. Usage. And we'll pass through arg v 0. Okay, return 1. So this is just going to check if the user effectively has forgotten to add on a file. So they've called WC, but they haven't added on a file. Because of course we can't run this program. It's not like cat where we can run the program anyway. Okay, so that's step 1 done. Next thing we need to do, pardon me, is open the file. Okay, so we'll do that next. So we need to create a file. I can't remember what the error I made in the last program was now already. We'll do fopen, and then whatever that file is going to be, and of course I would pass that to argv. So we'll do argv1, and then we'll do read. Okay. Next thing we want to do is just check if that file is null, which is again very similar to what we've done. A lot of this is probably going to be repeatable, so that's good. And then we'll do fprintf, and then we'll do again standard error, and we'll print out an error message, which is just going to be error. Could not open a file. Open a file, and then we'll do what are we doing? Yes. argv1. Awesome. Okay. Right, and then we want to return with an error. So we'll say return 1. Okay. So bit of error handling done. That's good. Next thing we want to do is store the lines, which we're going to set to 0 the start, as well as the words and bytes. So to do that, we can store that in a long. And we'll do lines. I don't know if we can do lines. Can we do lines, words, bytes equals 0? Can we do that? I think we can. In fact, I don't think it is. No, I think that won't work. I think we'll have to add in, because I think it's just assuming that we haven't set anything. So, right, we'll just do that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's just... yeah, don't know what happened there. Next, we want to store the character, which is what we're going to be on, and we also want to store the word when we're currently in a word. So this is, again, something classic you'll see in Brian Kernighan's book, should you decide to read it, which we all should at some point, especially if you learn to see. I've not read the whole book, so I'm a bit, take me with a pinch of salt there. But nonetheless, read the book, or at least have it on your bookshelf. If you ever need to flick through it, which I'm probably going to do now in between pausing bits when I'm stuck on this video. I think he done it in a different way. I remember like there being like something like states, and then you have like state in, state out. Out is just tracking if you're inside a word or if you're outside a word. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it a slightly different way. Well, similar way, but just again a little bit different. Right, so now we need to do our infamous while loop, which is effectively just going to say char equals, again, very similar to what we were looking at in the last one. So fk.c, I'm going to pass through our file here, and we're going to say when it's not equal to the end of file. Once we've done that, we will effectively increment through our bytes. Okay, and we are going to, what are we going to do? We're going to say if the character is equal to new line, we're going to increment. Okay, so effectively we're going to say, we're tracking a few things here. We're tracking lines, so we'll deal with lines first. We're tracking words next. Lines, we have to come up with some sort of definition into how we're going to track this. How I'm going to do it, which is how I think it's done anyway. Lines, when we encounter a new line, that's going to be classed as a line. When we encounter a space, now a space, it could be anything. I mean, I think is space the function that we're going to use encapsulates all of the possible spaces, so things like tabs as well. I hope. I think that's the whole idea behind using it, to be honest with you. So we're going to do this first. So let's just deal with this first. We'll say if the character is equal to backslash, whatever my backslash is, new line. Then what we're going to do is we are going to increment lines. Fantastic. All right, so we're counting the amount of bytes we've got, counting the amount of lines we've got, we're counting the words we've got. So bytes is going to get incremented with every character we pass through. So that's good. Next again, if is space, and then we're going to pass through char. I think we used C in the last one, but char. Now the next thing is, right, we're saying if it's, right, okay. So if is space char, then we're saying, right, so in Word, we'll just kind of treat it as, it's almost getting treated as the state, really. So I could have just called that state. Well, I don't know, just effectively it's going to be a 0 or 1. So we'll say in Word is equal to 0, because we're not in a word. Else if not in Word, then in Word is equal to 1, words plus plus. Okay, I think that's it, more or less. Right, so this is a pretty smart piece of code. And again, it's not my idea necessarily. I mean, this sort of stuff has been done countless times before. It's effectively, this block of line is probably the only bit that you're probably confused about, as well as the fact I've got errors. I'll have to deal with those now. But quite literally, what's happening is we are checking if there's a space. If there is a space, we say, okay, in Word is set to 0. So we're not in a word, we're in empty space. That's effectively what that's saying. We're then saying, else if, so when we go through again, we'll say, right, we're not in Word. That means effectively we just come from a 0. Okay, so we've just effectively entered a new word. So we add to words. That's it, effectively. Okay. And then, of course, when we come back around and there's another space and we go through the cycle again, effectively it's going to log the fact that there's an extra word that we've encountered here. Now, as for these errors, this one is pretty straightforward. The other one What is that? Using the result of an assignment as a condition without parentheses, and I think I've done that in the last one as well. So let's just do that, and I don't think I did actually. I think I got this one right. So if we do that, this is effectively it. This is our word count. So all we need to do now is just do a simple printf. Now there's a way that we can form, effectively make it look like. In fact, before I do anything else, let's just close our file, fclose. So let's do that. Now we want to print out because it's a long, it'll be, I think it's a LD, and then we'll do LD, LD, and then we'll do in the order lines, words, and bytes. I think that's right. So if I just run or clang this up, clang wc.c output my wc, let's say, and then we do my wc, and then we'll call text.txt. It worked. Fantastic. So that's good to know. Very, very simple program again, but very, very effective. Some cool little program tricks there. It blows my mind how creative people were back in the day. I mean, it's been done a million times before, so it's not as impressive now. But back then, this was like, this was next level stuff. So I think we might leave it at that. I think that's a good place to leave it. Right, so I know it was a very simple video. I know it was a very short video. I appreciate that. But nonetheless, we created 2 system programs that are staples in Unix, Linux, and so on. And now I know that is, again, I joked at the start saying we're going to create these programs that have never been done before. They've been done millions of times before. It's probably not impressive, but they're cool to rebuild. And I think it's a fun project to learn how to rebuild these tools. In the next video, I can't promise in the next video, but the next C program video, it would be cool to build grep. So that's going to be my little project. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to do a little bit of research. And I also want to build a shell. So these are projects that I'm going to work on in my own time, or I'll probably make a video on them. Let me know if you're interested, because I don't think many people will be interested in this. I really don't. For me, it's quite cool. And I think the people who watch the assembly video will find this quite cool. Let's see. I don't know. We'll see. You guys let me know what you want from me. But the next video that I will be showing is a little fun gadget that I've made. I was quite impressed with it, actually. I'm surprised it's working. It's up and running. And yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And there's a lot to show you guys in that video. So if you enjoyed this video, again, we didn't do LIS, but we can do that in the grep video. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.